Good afternoon, everybody. I hope you are all doing well. Quick stream. We'll kind of wait for a second here and see how. Hey, Jackie Hughes, Jackie Hughes. Hope you are doing fine, my friend. So I stumbled upon what may be a little bit of truth. It's possible while we were all focusing on timelines and lies to, I didn't mean to cough into the microphone, sorry about that. While we were all focusing on timelines and lies about, were you at the kennels, were you not at the kennels, are you able to take 150 pills per day, are you not able to take 150 pills a day? Was Maggie supposed to even be at Moselle, or had Alec begged her to join him? We were all so focused on that moment, weren't we? It was good. I don't think this guy is Juan Martinez, but it was nice to see him cornering Alec, and he did corner him. I felt like he revealed a lot when he pinned him down on, well, did you jump out of the truck and go see about Maggie and Paul then? And then after you checked them, called 911? Or did you call 911 and then go check on them? And let's face it, man, prosecutor nailed him. He was revealed in that moment, correct? All right. So, here we go. I'm going to take a minute and I'm going to talk about family annihilators. This information is from empirical research, right? I mean, there's Carlson et al. In 2019 did a meta-study where, they collect, a meta-study is when you collect all these other empirical works, and you begin to look for overall patterns emerging in the previously measured, information. And they gathered 63 research papers that overall covered 67 studies. It went across 18 countries, learning about familicide cases. And their findings reflect that in nearly all cases, the perpetrator is male. 50% of the cases, the perpetrator commits suicide after ending the lives of all the people in the family. And here's the big one. Overwhelmingly, there is a strong statistical relationship between acts of familicide and breakups, relationship problems, psychological problems, you can add the drug abuse there, financial hardship. There's a direct correlation between bankruptcy and familicide. And what do we know about Alex Murdaugh's problems in his life? There are, of these men that react to financial hardship, the news of an impending divorce, bankruptcy, foreclosure, even then with these shared stressors that very often have a statistically significant relationship with familicide and quite often leads to acts of familicide, they divided the killers into basically 4 different types. And the disappointed killers. This is the individual that believes that he's let everybody down, most often specifically his children or his spouse. He might think that his family members are not good enough for him, and so he's really unhappy with the choices that his children make. Maybe some religious customs involved. There's also the anomic killer. This killer considers his family an extension of economic success. So when economic success or economic status begins to break down, the family no longer serves that function. And so, he erases them. They're no longer useful for what he needed them for. The view of life or his family in general is often very black and white, no shades of gray. I've talked often about the health aspect of being able to see shades of gray in a problem and not view things as all good or all bad. But his view, this anomic killer, his view does not reflect the dynamic role that the wife can play in this idea of family or even in the economy. There's also paranoid killers. The individual believes that his wife and children are in immediate danger or under some form of threat, and so they need protecting. Social services or the legal system might be perceived as a threat toward their family, and therefore they kill their entire family in an attempt to protect them from outside threats. It's quite sick, isn't it? It's so hard to wrap your mind around that type of thinking. But remember, this is empirically derived information. The fourth type is the self-righteous killers. This individual is, in most cases, the father, and the father blames others for the problems that he's having, especially the wife/mother. If the mother tries to end the relationship, break up, or prevents him from trying to have access to the children, he can often build up his role as provider and kind of make himself feel like he has a very special place in society. And so if you try to take that identity away from him of provider, that can make him really dangerous, because remember, that's the thing that makes him feel special according to the greater society and what he believes the other people look at him and value him. The main goal of this type of familicide is to cause pain and suffering to their partners. They're most likely to use their children to do so. These types of familicide killers will often kill the children and leave the mother alive to extend the suffering and to ensure maximum pain. They want the spouse that they believe has destroyed everything, they want the spouse to see the child die. In most cases, this type of familicide murderer will contact the mother prior to the murders and inform her about what they're about to do. And this often will cause the mother, the wife, to come running in an effort to try to save her child or her children. These types of killings are similar to executions. They are never spontaneous. This type of familicide killer plans his murders, and they are not the result of impulsiveness nor a fit of rage. The killings are methodical, and they are planned out for a long time. And that's according to Professor Jack Levin. That kind of sent chills through me, because what do we know that Alex said? He said, I don't know who did this, but whoever did it, I think they planned it for a long time. Terrifying, isn't it? I agree, Blonde PT. I think when you break this down and you look at this according to the research related to familicide, he checks all the boxes. He's having serious psychological problems that are related to his drug addiction. I'm not certain that I can even begin to wrap my mind around the fact that he's taking 100, 200 pills a day. I don't believe that. All he's going to be doing is sitting there eating pills. There won't be, you break that down into 24 hours, you're trying to take 150 pills per 24-hour period. If you're awake and you never sleep, that's a minimum of 4 pills an hour. Or if you're only taking pills for 12 hours, that's 8 pills an hour. That's for the minimum of 100. That doesn't even get him to the $50,000 a week habit. So he's just lying. I think he's educated himself on what he should say, what kind of things are associated with addictions to opiates, and he's sort of like talking about paranoia and things like that. I think he was using, don't get me wrong, I think he's using them, but I certainly do not believe it was a $50,000 a week habit. I think it's more likely that they were trafficking these drugs and that he was dipping into his supply. And that's where a lot of his problems, financial problems, came into play, is because he owed some very bad men a lot of money. That's what I think happened. So, according to empirical work, scholars in this area, they have identified 4 common areas to consider when exploring whether murder has been an act of familicide. 1, a breakdown in the family relationship. The issues of the children being a part of the family. This is clearly happening in Alec and Maggie Murdaugh's life. We can clearly see where things have fallen apart with Paul specifically, and perhaps the marriage in general. Even without the knowledge of the financial problems, Maggie's sister testified there were problems. Number 2, financial hardship. My God, in the morning, this man, Alex Murdaugh, he set the standard for like what a financial hardship really is. I mean, he annihilated any success that he had. It's amazing how self-destructive he is. It's amazing the level of financial, what do you want to call it? I mean, it's just, he broke every rule in the book. And I think it came from a position of privilege and arrogance. I think he's your stereotypical narcissist, like malignant narcissist. And so he didn't think the rules applied to him. He didn't care that he hurt his best friends in the whole wide world. He didn't care that he hurt his family members. He didn't care that he hurt his damn business partners. This man didn't give a damn because he's special, don't you know? The rules didn't apply to him. And then the 4th was this idea of either cultural honor killings or mental illness. Listen, people, anybody that's taken 3, 4, 5,000 milligrams of opiates a day, I think we can pretty well figure out, yeah, if they weren't mentally ill before they began taking that much, they're definitely mentally ill now, right? So yes, I think we can look at the research coming out of the projects, the scholarly work related to familicide, murder, suicide, that kind of thing. And we can definitely see when we look at Alex Murdaugh and what we've learned from this trial, and it's easy to say, gosh, what happened here is absolutely consistent, a parallel to basically 69% of these cases. It's almost what Alex Murdaugh did, what he experienced. It is almost a textbook example of what happens, the psychological profile for a family annihilator. So that is very interesting, right? Now the thing that do a thumbs up here. The thing that just made me just want to just like, holy hell, what in the hell did they say? And the fact that it doesn't seem like the prosecutor picked up on it. It's a huge moment in the courtroom, and I'm not sure that the prosecutors even recognized what he said. I mean, I think it's very important. I think it was very powerful that Alec messed up and he said, no, I went and attended to them before calling 911. And from his interview with SLED on the day of the murders, he definitely said he attended to them after he called 911. He's actually even on 911 talking about, making sure that they're okay or not, So that was important. But listen to this. This is crazy. This is unbelievable. So the prosecutor's pushing him, right? Trying to get him to snap, trying to get him to get a bit overwhelmed. And they're having this brief, well, not a brief, it's kind of a prolonged argument about, well, did you say goodbye? Like, you're all down there. We got a Snapchat video, and within like 4 minutes of this video, we believe that Maggie and Paul were dead. And you're there. And there's no disputing that you're there. And you were doing something, because we can hear in the video, you're the one going to get the bird out of the dog's mouth. And then apparently you laid that bird on top of, a box to see, I guess, if it would wake up. So you didn't just yell from a four-wheeler and then drive away. You were moving around. So how do you explain not being there when they died? Both of them. They received no other social media interaction. 8:49, phones locked down, nothing else came out. Even though Paul was in communication with Roden at that exact moment. So you were there, Alec. And, Alec is dancing around this. He doesn't want to admit it. He knows it's a problem. He knows it's sticky, right? He wants to try to take away from the idea that he was, sprinting back and forth from the house. But for all essential purposes, he had to have that golf cart, the pedal to the metal, down to the floor, moving out, right? And he never accounted for those 200 plus steps. He never accounted for that. So, but here's the thing that when he said it, I just said, what the hell did he just say? It's the middle of the night. It's like 2 a.m. I'm trying to, finish watching the testimony from the day, because I worked, and so I'm listening to it. I sit up, I rewind it. My husband's just like, why'd you turn that up? Well, because I got to listen to this. Did he say what it sounded like he said? And so here we go. Let me make sure you guys can hear me. If y'all can hear me okay, put a 1. I think he got mad at Bubba and was hurting him. Maggie and Paul probably stepped in and he snapped. Good possibility, Lady of Angels. I think that sounds like a logical possibility. Okay, so you guys can hear. Thank you. Okay, so let's play this and see if y'all think it's shocking. I think it's unbelievable. Like, my jaw hit the ground. I hope when we come back on Monday, I hope that the prosecutors are on this. I hope they come right out and play this back to him and say, what the hell did you say, Alec? Let me make sure the sound is up. Sorry, I'm trying to get a little bit of a cough. It's very frustrating. All right, here we go.
To the air conditioner.
So did you say goodbye, according to your new story?
Did I say goodbye?
Yeah. Did you talk to them at all, or did you just get the chicken, put it on there, jump on there, and just take off?
I wouldn't have just gone off. I mean, I would have said, I'm leaving.
Okay.
Did I say goodbye or bye?
And again, go
But,
ahead.
I mean, there would have been some, there would have been some exchange. I'm not staying here.
Well, what was that exchange? I mean, you've had such a photographic memory about these news stories. What happened here?
No, that's not, I can't tell you the exact words.
You don't remember your conversation after you put that chicken up? Did y'all talk about the chicken?
No, I don't think we did.
Did you talk with Paul about Cash's tail?
It's your home, and there's no place like Wayfair to
Sorry
make the
about
morning
that, y'all.
chaos organized chaos.
After the chicken?
Yeah.
No, I know I didn't do that.
Did you tell Maggie I'm going to go check on him?
At that point, no, I don't
Did you
think
tell
I did.
Maggie, oh, it's hot out here, if they gonna go back?
I certainly would have said something to that effect.
All right. So, unlike everything else with the news story, you just can't recall what that would have been.
Well, I mean, you're making that categorization. I think there's other things about that I can't remember. But if the question is, can I remember exactly words I used when I gave Maggie some salutation when I'm leaving, I can't tell you what those were.
All right.
But it would have been something to the effect of, I'm leaving.
All right. Okay. Well, you would concede that there was at least some conversation, that you wouldn't have just put the chicken on there and ran back to the golf cart and taken off. Correct?
Without talking to Maggie, I would have never done that.
All right. All right. So let's, you want to say a minute? Does that sound about right?
A minute for what?
To have just whatever interaction it took for you to then, according to your news story, drive back to.
No, sir. It wouldn't have taken me a minute. It would
Not a
have
minute.
been, it would have been, I'm leaving. I'll see you in a minute.
Okay. So 30 seconds?
I don't think it would have taken 30 seconds, but, I mean, I'm fine with you using whatever time you want to apply, but I don't
I'm
think it
just
would have
asking
taken that
about
long.
real life here and how people interact with one another, Mr. Murdaugh. I mean, so what you're telling this jury, I call you're fuzzy on these kind of details, is that you jetted down there, you dealt with the chicken and jetted right back.
No, sir. No, sir. I didn't jet down there and I didn't jet back. I got up after Maggie asked me to leave, after Maggie.
What? After Maggie did what? Listen to that again.
No, sir. No, sir. I didn't jet down there and I didn't jet back. I got up after Maggie asked me to leave, after Maggie asked me to go with her.
Well, those are two completely different things, Alec. After Maggie asked you to leave, or Maggie asked you to go with her. I think the truth came out. I think this was the reality of what may have triggered this horrific, moment. I think he knew it was all coming. I think it was all, the house of cards was caving. And here's something else he said, y'all. He said that, kind of as a defense for him, he said that with Maggie alive, all he had to do was ask Maggie to sign paperwork and he would be able to get the money for like a line of credit using Moselle as the capital. That the bank would be happy, but she would have to sign it. He makes it sound like it's better for him financially if Maggie is still alive, correct? He makes it sound like, well, Maggie's the one that has to sign the paperwork if we want to get, money, if we want to use our property, Moselle, which we could have easily accessed nearly $2 million. But she had to sign the paper. So I would want her alive, because if she's not alive, who's going to sign the papers? Right? Do Do y'all remember that? So he makes it sound like to the jury, he takes this view of, oh no, I would have been foolish to kill Maggie. By killing Maggie, I can no longer access what I have invested in Moselle. I need Maggie alive to sign the loan paperwork. Did y'all hear that? But hold on a damn minute. That's not true, as we learned from Barrymore Few. If Maggie dies, guess what? There are beneficiaries. And guess who is quite likely the beneficiary? It's either Alec or who? I bet it's Buster. What do you want to bet that Buster was Maggie's primary beneficiary? What do you want to bet? Right? So, and we know that Buster and Alec, well, they are just like peas and carrots. They go together, right? So yeah, and here's another deal, people. This whole Paul. Okay, can I just, for those of you that don't talk like me, y'all can hear, I can swing over into my Louisiana accent pretty damn quick because that's how I grew up. And so it's really, it's comfortable for me to talk like everybody else from North Louisiana or Texas. I've learned not to talk like that. I still have a pretty strong, accent. But listen, in the South, Papa or Pawpaw, that's our granddaddy. That's our grandparents. Usually the grandparent on the father's side, right? So what a strange nickname to call the youngest child in the family when Pawpaw or Papa, that's the nickname of affection that's given to the grandpa. It's very, very odd. But I think there was a bit of that's just emotional manipulation, correct? I mean, he's just trying to kind of suck the jurors in and look, and he wants them to look at him like this quintessential loving, ever-present dad, right? This man who was so completely devoted to family, his kids, his wife. He wants to be seen in that role. And remember what I just talked about with the whole familicide problem is actually one of the types of familicide killers, is that guy who looks at family as an extension of financial success. That if you really want to be viewed as successful, that includes not only financial windfall, but it also includes having the all-American family. The all-American family is a prop, just like the fancy cars and the McMansions and the, sexy vacations in Europe. Those are all, they're just stage props for the actor. I am Alex Murdaugh. I am a son of the South. I am the most wealthy guy around. See, it's just playing a role. It's just playing a game, right? And what happens if he believes that? What happens if his wife and children disown him, divorce him, leave him in the dust? Well, now his image is soiled. How can he be a great, successful, wonderful attorney if his wife divorces him and his kid won't have anything to do with him? He can't. Now, he still has the money trouble, and that's another one of those predisposing factors. But he believes that he can wiggle out of that. He believes that he's got enough equity built up in various properties. He's got some very wealthy friends, some very powerful, well-placed friends. And, you know, he believes that he can find his way out of this. If his father dies, he's going to walk into a grand inheritance. They already have said that. So it's almost like he was sort of trying to hold out and make it to when his dad died. That was kind of the real, initially, that was really kind of the real focus. But if Maggie comes in on that day and says, Alex, I'm not staying here. I mean, what did he say? The real clue that Maggie was not going to go back to Edison was that the dogs were in the kennel. That she would have taken the dogs with her if she had planned on going back to Edison, right? But what if the problem is that she was coming in to say, this marriage is done. I'm done. We have had to put the property in my name. We're not going to have anything for the boys. You have so badly squandered things with all of your bullshit, all of your pills, all your shady friends. I'm out of here. Color me gone. Me and Paul will be in Edison, and Buster will be in, you know, wherever he was, and leave us alone. So that's going to leave Alec, king of the mountain. Now he's alone. He's abandoned in the middle of 1,700 acres. Nobody will ever be able to find him or even think about him. He has exactly $0, and he's about to get fired because they're all about to find out that he has slandered and squandered and destroyed all. His law firm, his family members, his best friends from childhood, his extended business associates like the president of Paul Bank, Russell Lafitte. If she comes in, right, on the one hand, he's conniving, he's positioning. I need to get my hands on that money. If he had just asked for money for a loan, right? And he's thinking that's only going to cure the bleeding a little bit. But if I could get Maggie to give me some money, if I could get her to sign over that couple $1 million equity in Moselle, then maybe I can make it and squeak by until my dad dies. When my dad dies, I can pay off those very dangerous, very powerful men that I have stolen from. And then maybe I can survive all this. But if he had asked Maggie, if he had said, I need that money, and she said, absolutely not. No, we're not doing that. We got to have something for the boys. I don't know what you're up to, but Paul and Buster, they need something. You've ruined it for everybody, but they need a little something to keep them safe in their life. And then he said, you don't understand. There ain't nothing. There's nothing, Maggie. There's nothing. If you don't help me cover this, it's gone. Everything is gone. And my job will be gone. My license to practice, my license to practice as a lawyer will be gone. Everything. You need to sign this for me. And she says no. And not only does she say no, but she says, we're done. I'm leaving you. Would that have pushed him over the edge? There are some people that believe that is what motivated Barry Morphew. That Suzanne said, I'm done, Barry. I'm leaving. I'm not giving you any more of my money. No more of my land. No more. You can have nothing that was an inheritance to me You have squandered the things that I've given you. Done. It's weird that it's so similar.
Say a minute? Does that sound about right?
A minute for what?
To have just whatever interaction it took for you to then, according to your new story, drop back to.
No, sir. It wouldn't have taken me a minute. It would
Not a
have
minute.
been, it would have been, I'm leaving. I'll see you in a minute.
Okay. So 30 seconds?
I don't think it would have taken 30 seconds, but, I mean, I'm fine with you using whatever time you want to apply, but I don't think it
I'm
would
just
have
asking
taken that
about
long.
real life here and how people interact with one another, Mr. Murdaugh. I mean, so what you're telling this jury, I call, you're fuzzy on these kind of details, is that you jetted down there, you dealt with the chicken and jetted right back.
No, no, sir. No, sir. I didn't jet down there and I didn't jet back. I got up after Maggie asked me to leave, after Maggie asked me to go.
I don't know when I lost my sound. Hold on, let me go roll back up here and see. Okay, I guess the sound went out when I may have hit it with my. Okay, so I think probably the sound went out right after we heard Alex say this.
I didn't jet back. I got up after Maggie asked me to leave.
Oh, wait a minute. I still don't have sound. Why?
Remember exactly what words I used.
Yeah,
when
Houston,
I gave
we have
Maggie some
There we go.
salutation when I'm leaving. I can't tell you what.
Okay,
those
so
were.
listen to this
But it
again,
would've
and then
been
I'll
something to
redo
the
all of
effect
that.
I'm leaving.
Okay, but you would concede that there was at least some conversation, that you wouldn't have just put the chicken on there and ran back to the golf cart and taken off. correct?
Without talking to Maggie, I would have never done
All
that.
right. All right, so let's, you want to say a minute? Does that sound about right?
A minute for what?
To have just whatever interaction it took for you to then, according to your new story, drop back to.
No, sir. It wouldn't have taken me a minute. It would
Not a
have
minute.
been, it would have been, I'm leaving. I'll see you in a minute.
Okay. So 30 seconds?
I don't think
Wow,
it would take 30 seconds, but I
There
mean,
is
I'm fine
something
with you
wrong with
using
my
whatever
computer,
time
isn't it?
you want to
The
apply,
sound
but
dropped out
I'm
again,
I'm just
didn't
asking
it?
about real life here, and how this jury, I call you're fuzzy on it back.
Why did it do
I didn't jet down there.
Okay, I'm not gonna waste more time talking about. Okay, so we heard him say very clearly. We can hear you. Okay, so we heard him say, Maggie asked me to leave, and then he stumbles. And then he stumbles around his words and he changes it around, right? Okay. So this fits with what we know about familicide, okay? We know that it follows along those 4 categories where if you think about Alex, the quintessential narcissist, and he has developed this idea, this persona of big shot, son of the South, the crowned prince of Dixie, which is kind of what he's doing, right? You can see that him playing out that persona, right? Well, let me ask you this. Let's say all his money is in order. Let's say his career is just fine. But if you're one of those killers that you believe that the wife and the children are an extension of your overall delusion, that they are props in this play that you're presenting. Alec is just an actor. He's just playing a role, right? And the perfect wife and kids, who are also going to be attorneys, are also going to, do these things that he did, yada yada, multi-generational wealth, blah 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 blah, a life of privilege that you and I don't know anything about, correct? Let's say, what happens if Maggie and the 2 boys, Maggie divorces Alex, and the 2 boys walk? They're done. They don't have anything to do with dad. What happens to his illusion of being the crowned prince? Falls pieces, doesn't it? He can't have that. He can't let her destroy the kingdom. Right? He says, when Maggie asked me to leave, she wanted me to go. Oh, wait, that's exactly the opposite, Alec. Her telling you to leave as opposed to asking you to go with. How do you confuse those two? They're on opposite ends of the spectrum. No, he says without thinking. The truth always leaks out, people. Always. And the truth came out. And I hope that Monday morning that the prosecution immediately leads with this, jumps on it, plays it loud and clear in the courtroom for everyone to hear, and say, gosh, Alex, that was not really a faux pas. You were quite definitive when you said, okay, look, when Maggie asked me to leave, then what? What was he gonna say? Maggie asked me to leave. They went down to go get the 2 dogs to take back with them to Edison. And so I got on the golf cart and followed them down there. I didn't jet down there and jet back. You see what I mean? For a moment, for an instant, his memory came out of his mouth. That, I think, was the truth. I think it was very similar to what some of us believe happened with Barry Morphew case. Suzanne Morphew came into this marriage with the potential for a lot of money. She received fairly healthy inheritances from grandmother, mother, stepfather. She had quite a bit. Her land holdings and cash were quite substantial. And Barry had a heavy hand. Barry was the man of the house. And so he would often tell Suzanne what she was going to do with her land or not do in the case of CBD or hemp. I think it was hemp. And there are some people that believe that Barry, we know that he got into financial trouble. When she disappeared, Barry was financially insolvent. Hell, he was operating in Colorado. He hadn't even gotten his license because he didn't have the cash to get a license to operate in Colorado. So there are some of us that believe that he had tried to get more money from her, and that she said, no, I'm done. The money I've given you has been squandered, and no. Oh, what little bit I have left, I have to keep. No, I'm not. No, and I'm out of here. I don't want to live like this anymore. I want a life of happiness and smiles and trust and love. And this isn't it. This isn't working. I'm done. And there are some of us that believe that's when it all happened. And I can see a very similar thing happening here with Alex Murdaugh. And he says clearly, when Maggie asked me to leave, not to go. Maggie asked me to leave. Well, what did he say? He tried to make it sound like that he needed Maggie to be alive so he could access the equity in Moselle, which was over $1 million. It was close to $2 million, right? Moselle had the most equity, and it was in her name only. You think that was by mistake? I think it was by design. I think Maggie said, you are destroying us financially. I need to be safe. I don't want to be homeless and end up a bag lady when I'm older. I want our kids to have something of financial, support or foundation. I want you to sign over Moselle to me, and you can't touch it, Buster. Buddy. Not Buster the child, but Alec. I don't want you to be able to access anything related to this nest egg that we have with Moselle. She hated Moselle. She didn't like being there, but it was a rather grand property in terms of size and the potential to be turned into a commercial operation. It could have very easily been made into a lucrative hunting camp. And I think she said, no, you're done. You have squandered millions of dollars year after year. This is all we have left. Get away from it. You cannot access it. You cannot get any more mortgages on it. Get the hell away now. And I think that was her attempt to try to keep some safety around herself and the kids, right? And I'm sure that there was a great deal of frustration related to the pills, don't you? Have you ever known anybody that was dealing with a spouse that had alcoholism or they had addiction problems? It is very difficult. There's a great deal of frustration. There's a lot of soul searching. What am I doing with this person? It's very, very difficult. They begin to issue ultimatums. You know, if you want me to stay, if you want me to try to keep our family together, you've got to get sober. You've got to show us that you're going to be able to do this. Otherwise, you're not safe to be around. You're impulsive. You're unpredictable. You're dangerous with money. Right? So Maggie's frustrated and she's frightened. The boys are humiliated. Hell, Maggie is humiliated. They made it sound like she started shopping in another town because of the boat accident. What do you guys think? Is it likely that she's shopping in another town because she knows that everybody is whispering about Alex, drug use, his erratic manner, the strange set of friends he's got, the fact that year after year after year he's making less money and less money and less money and less money. He's absolutely decompensating. When they read out his yearly income, it just got lower and lower and lower and lower as his drug use increased, right? She knows this. Paul knows it. Paul knows it because Paul's running around looking for his damn pill bottles. I mean, this was a demeaning and degrading period of time for Maggie. I would be willing to bet. So when this happens with Paul, it's devastating. And Alec is still, yeah, well, he said himself he had a pocket full of pills while all this was going on. She knows that he's using. You can't take that particular medication at that level and people around you not look at you and go, wow, this is really sad, because he doesn't know where he is right now. Like, he's nodding off. He doesn't know he's nodding off. He's drooling. His mouth is too dry, on the other hand, that he's clicking his mouth when he talks. Your pupils are just very, very tiny. You can't hide an opiate addiction, people. And I think she had enough. I think he came to her and he said, we got to act. You're going to have to sign the paperwork for this line of credit. I got to get that line of credit, Maggie. You don't understand. If we cannot make it until my dad dies, we're going to lose everything. If I can just make it until my dad dies. When my dad dies, there's a fine inheritance and I can get us out of this hole. But I need your help. We're in this together, Maggie. Me and you, we're a team. He's sick. He's in the hospital. He's not going to make it much longer. But we gotta give Palmetto something. They need something. Please sign these documents. Please, Maggie, please sign this. And I think that was the breaking point. And I think Maggie said, no, I'm not. This is all we have left. No. And you know what? This is my place, Alec. This is mine. This has my name on it, not yours. You have no right to be here. You're trying to make me sign papers that is gonna sign away what is the last thing that me and the boys have that keep us safe. And I want you out of here. You get your ass out of here. I don't care where you go. Go to rehab. Go detox. Do something healthy for yourself, but color me gone. I am finished with this fiasco. I'm ashamed. I'm embarrassed. I can't walk through town with my head up. My children are getting all kinds of death threats all the time. I didn't sign on for this, Alec. You have to leave. And so they leave. She and Paul leave, and they head down to the kennels where they can take the video for Roden, and they can collect the 2 dogs and load up and go to Edison. And that is something Alec just could not have. He gives this presentation. He says, oh, I needed her alive so that she could sign the papers for the line of credit. Wait. what's the likelihood that he's the beneficiary of Maggie's estate? Or maybe she's already updated her paperwork and she split the estate between Buster and Paul. Well, if Paul's dead too, then Buster gets it all. And what we know about Buster is that he and Daddy are close. Buster and Diddy are pretty close people, right? They've got a pretty good relationship. I mean, we can listen to the jailhouse phone calls and hear that. When Maggie asked me to leave, same dynamic, I believe, in my opinion, same dynamic that may have played out with Barry Morphew and Suzanne Morphew. Very similar circumstances in the days leading up to the disappearance of Suzanne Morphew and the murders of Paul and Maggie Murdaugh. Now, I have one more point to make here. I want you to think about this, okay? Put yourself real world, right? None of this, ooh, they're, South Carolina royalty. They live like, the rest of us do not. So they probably have a different way of seeing things. No, they're human beings, y'all. They're just like me and you, okay? I want you to think about this. You are Maggie. You are Maggie Murdaugh. And you've been in a long marriage with a man that has basically made you queen of the castle. You got more money than you want. You can buy any property you want. You travel wherever you want. Life is good. Life is good for you, and life is good for your kids. Your two boys, they've grown up with a silver spoon literally in their mouth. They've driven the finest trucks. They have access to the finest firearms, the things that matter to them. They are instantly accepted into law school. Their friends are also, sons of the chosen South with silver spoons. And life's good for this group of little rich kids and their parents. It's a great life. Dignity, dignified, right? Yeah, these people are bumming around in Vineyard Vine shirts. I got news for you. If my husband has Vineyard Vine, it gets left in the closet unless something special is happening, right? You take care of it. Your expensive clothes, you take care of it. Not this group. This is their bumming around shirts. This is wealth. Their bonus checks are over $1 million. This is real wealth, people. So you're Maggie. You don't practice law. You don't know how to practice law. You don't even know what some of that stuff is. But by God, your husband's bringing in $1 million yearly bonus checks. You kind of assume, hey, he's a great lawyer. He's doing great. I'm lucky. I am married to an intelligent, great man. Right up to then, you find out that he's swallowing 100 pills a day of Oxycodone or Oxycontin. Then you're getting frustrated, right? Think about it, real world. How many people, how many spouses are dealing with the frustration of a husband or a wife that are alcoholics or they have addictions? It is difficult. It begins to dominate the entire family. It's tough. It's very difficult, right? So Maggie she's scared and she's frustrated. She's grown up. The majority of her marital life, there has been an abundance of luxury and safety and comfort. Her boys grew up with the best of everything, with luxury and safety and confidence. Daddy was a coach. Mom and Dad never missed any of their ball games. Those are hashtag problems of little rich kids, right? And the reason I'm pointing that out is because Maggie has a certain perspective on things. This has been a long marriage. And her boys have only ever known affluence. These are three people that don't know how to live in a one-bedroom apartment. They don't understand what it is to eat eggs and toast every night for dinner because there's no money for groceries. They've never lived that life. They don't know what it is, y'all. Now, Maggie begins to find out, Houston, we have a problem. We got pills galore. The pills were such a big deal for this family. I don't care what they're saying on the stand. I'm looking at lifestyle. And what we know is this. Paul had developed a nickname called the Little Detective. That tells me on more than one occasion, Paul found Daddy's pills. Can we agree? That suggests to me that this was a family that was in the throes of addiction. They were dealing with the addiction of their father and all that comes with that. It's terrible. It's awful. It takes over everything. With that, it's not only the concern and the worry about the finances and the day-to-day, cognitive decline of your loved one and whatnot, but it comes with a loss of dignity in the community. I think she quit going and shopping in her regular, town, not because of the boat wreck, but because she was ashamed and embarrassed of the fact that her husband was obviously in mental decline. That she had to have started thinking that people know we're having these terrible financial problems. My husband is supposed to be this great accomplished guy, and he's got some sincerely shady friends. I think she didn't want to go because she lost her dignity. So now I'm going to ask you to put yourself in her shoes and all of that. Think of this. Think of this. If this rings true to you. Do you really believe that Maggie is thinking, holy hell, I'm going to be homeless. I'm going to be a bag lady because of what my husband has done. He has squandered our fortune, the fortunes of our friends and our co-workers. We're screwed because of Alec. So she's scared financially. She's scared for her boys financially. Paul is getting death threats because of this dramatic, upside down drunken boat accident, and then Alec running around meddling, behind the scenes. She's terrified of what's happening in her life, right? I suspect she was trying to just save what she could and get away from him. Now, here's the question I have for you. If your husband has destroyed your lives and the legacy, the inheritance of your children, you've lost all your friends because they're snickering and talking behind your back. Your husband is stumbling around town on the nod, unkempt and illogical when he talks because he's taken so many pills. I ask you, think of this. Now you're in Edison, just trying to relax and trying to say, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, how do I survive this? And you say to your housekeeper, I'm so worried about Alec. I'm so worried about Alec. I need to go stay with him. I need to go be with him and help him. What do you think? Do you think that was in Maggie's mind? Do you think Maggie was more concerned about Alec's state of mind? Or do you think that she was more concerned about the people that were assaulting Paul? Or saying, verbally attacking Buster? Or whispering and snickering behind her back? Or looking at the bank account where her checks are now bouncing all over town and wondering to herself, holy hell, what am I going to do? Do you believe that she felt pity for Alec? Do you believe that she could feel concern for Alec? Or do you think that she was in full-blown survival mode trying to protect her kids and her hope of being able to survive her old age? She'd never worked. What in the hell was she going to do, y'all? So what do you think? Do you believe that Maggie Murdaugh was feeling sorry for Alex Murdaugh? Worried about him? I personally don't think so. So if you believe that Maggie was feeling sorry for Alec and was wanting to comfort Alec, put a 1. If you think that is hogwash and that she was really feeling sorry for her boys and herself and trying to preserve some cash through Moselle and the equity that was there, put a 2. And let's see kind of where we are. Hey, William Fagan, how are you? Been a long time since I saw you. Welcome. What do y'all think? No way. Hey, Joyce Dawn. Hey, Donna. Gregory Worth, welcome. There you go. There you go. We're the jury, people. We're the jury. Azure Blue, welcome. Martin Smallwood. Lena. Sundown Farms. There you go. Look, we are the people of the jury. Now, Hillary says no. She thinks that Maggie was worried about Alec. Okay. All right. Maybe a little bit of both. Autodrome says maybe a bit of both. Okay, I can accept that. Okay. So, he consciously went through his call log on his phone to delete his cell records. He just lost his wife and son, and he was doing this. Come on. I'm with you, Don Castell. Yes, I agree. So, in my opinion, the receipt found on the top of the trash showing a $1,200 purchase from Gucci was the last straw. Wish they had followed up on that. Yeah, but you know what, Sweet Caroline? I totally agree on the follow-up. There's been a lot that I wish they could have followed up on. But look, the truth is, this guy was such a disorganized mess. I think the prosecution kept saying, what are we going to focus on? There's so much. Like, how do we just restrict to just this one issue? And I, don't look, dealing with a whole ball of yarn is very, very difficult. I think they've done a good job, but I think Alec is masterful manipulator. Why do they never ask about his Suboxone or Butte maintenance? One man Arnie. Okay, I have a question for you. I'm going to call you Oma. Oh, one man army. Do you know for a fact that Alec is on Suboxone? And the reason I'm asking you this is, did you notice when he's on the stand, did you notice the clicking when he's talking? Lots of clicking, right? His mouth, his tongue. Well, so that click is, we associate with heroin use. So clinically, if you're working with someone and suddenly they're clicking as they're talking, that's a pretty good sign they're using heroin or very high dose, like oxycodone. Yes, not just dry mouth, but very, very, very dry mouth, correct? So he says he has 550 something days clean, but he might be, if he's on Suboxone as a maintenance drug, he may consider those sober days if it's medically supervised. And then the pinprick pupils are a dead giveaway, right, Bill? If you've ever seen it, you know what it is. Like when you look at it, you're like, oh, what are you on, Buster? Or not Buster, the kid, Buddy. What are you on, Buddy? You can see those little pinprick pupils that don't respond to closing their eyes or anything. You know they're on some form of opiate and a fairly high dose, because the pinprick pupils don't tend to happen with therapeutic doses. It's only, kind of once you've doubled up on that. The whole marriage was a lie from the start and continued to be. Well, I don't know if it was a lie from the start. I guess I'm assuming that the early stages of the marriage were pretty good. And there does seem to be evidence of that when you go back through what his bonuses were every year. His earlier years had the bigger bonuses. Yeah, the dark eyes are a great cover. It's very hard to see the little pinpricks. Yeah. The money that he was begging his sister-in-law for, that he was saying he was going to some man's food account, he was probably buying pills. I wondered that he's purchasing contraband, right? I wondered if that was the case. Because the urgency in his voice sounded very similar to people that are like, oh, how can I say this? Like the nurse getting a phone call and the person saying, oh my God, you'll never believe it just happened. My whole prescription fell into the toilet and I need some help getting some replacement medication. It kind of had that, frantic urgency to it. Oh, she needs to do it now. In the next 5 minutes, she needs to put the money in, it was really uncomfortable. Yeah. I think I'm going to tell you this, DMC. Trust here. I'm not meddling. I'm not being, I'm not being speculative here. I'm saying flat out. I did notice that Condon walked with Alec to the van. I think it was the first day he was on the stand, so it was Thursday. So I thought that was very shocking. And he's a very powerful man. And so I'm sure there were people at the courthouse, even though he wasn't supposed to have access to Alec in that setting. I think, are you going to tell this guy no? Right? And I wonder if that's where the charges are coming from. So we'll have to kind of keep an eye on that when they come up with the contraband, the facts of what happened with those charges. It'll be interesting to see who it was that was facilitating the exchange, because Condon had private access to him outside the jail, walking from the building to the van. I gasped when I saw it. So, Jules, did you notice the form of tongue thrusting? I did, Blonde. Yeah, I did. Yeah, it's weird. He's got a lot of neurological stuff, But hell, can we be honest? The man's taking 150 tablets a day. He probably does have some damage, right? All right, I think Alec had the pills in his short because he went through Paul's pocket to get them back. I don't know. What do you mean? Do we know that Paul had them? I didn't know that he had taken them. So, all right, peeps. Okay, so here we have Alex Murdaugh on the stand, very clearly stating, when Maggie asked me to leave. I believe that I can make a case. If he's found guilty, I believe this was a case of familicide, and those 4 standards are absolutely there and in place and have been there for several years. And I think that maybe Maggie telling him she wanted a divorce, I think that was it. That was the decision, something he had been thinking about and planning for quite a while for the financial benefit. I think when she asked for a divorce, he realized, I have to end this right now. If she has time to file any legal documents, I'm done. I'm toast. I'm finished. There's no hope without Maggie in the mix, right? All right, people. You guys are awesome. I apologize for my something going on with the audio. So the first thing I'm going to do is go back and edit out that part where nobody could hear me, and try to repair that, and then this will be posted. So it will be very interesting to see Monday how the prosecution starts, and I really hope that the prosecution picked up on this whole when Maggie asked me to leave. Y'all have a great Saturday, and I hope that you will subscribe, hit the thumbs up, and I will be back.